Good evening, friends. Today we'll discuss about Brucella infection, which is very common, more common than we imagine, and many times missed by many doctors. The Brucella infection occurs due to the bacteria of the genus Brucella, and it is usually an occupational hazard in the dairy industry due to use of unpasteurized milk and milk products. It can also be infected, spread can be done by infected meat of the pigs. So, from slaughterhouses to abattoir workers, this infection can commonly spread. Brucella per se bacteria is a gram negative aerobic cocobacilli and which is non motile. Culture of this bacteria is very much possible. There are four types of bacteria, that is a Brucella abortus, Brucella sui, Brucella melentis, and Brucella canis. Out of this, infection due to Brucella abortus is mild to moderate, giving rise to symptoms like high fever, bone pain, myalgia, arthralgia, all these things. And infection due to sui can be very severe and suppurative, and other two variants of the brucella, they usually cause a insidious type of illness. So this is something about the brucella bacteria. Now, spread of this bacteria occurs due to use of unpasteurized milk and milk products, and can happen in all people who are associated with the dairy industry. It can happen even in the veterinary doctors. Then spread of the other genus of Brucella occurs due to infection in the slaughterhouses, and sometimes due to the aerosolization from the infected skin of the animals, this can also happen. Brucella, if it occurs in pregnancy, can lead to spontaneous abortions. So this was something about the spread of the bacteria. Then usually once the bacteria enters the skin or conjunctiva or from the mucous membrane, it enters the lung, pharynx, or oropharynx, and it is phagocyted by the lymphocyte. There is mononuclear lymphocytes, and these then go to the lymph nodes, where this bacteria spreads in the lymph nodes. So lymphadenopathy is very common in patients suffering from brucella. Usually the lymphadenopathy which is found is the cervical and axillary lymphadenopathy. Inguinal lymphadenopathy is not very common. Once the lymphatic system is overwhelmed, then severe bacteremia occurs, leading to significant symptoms in the patients. So this entire process takes about 1.5 to 3 weeks, and once there is bacteremia, then the patient starts developing high fever and the other protein symptoms like arthralgia, myalgia, body ache, anorexia, nausea, vomiting. All these symptoms are there. So usually this brucella is phagocytes, and once this phagocytosis occurs and bacteremia occurs, these bacteria, that is brucella, can get lodged into the liver, then spleen, bone marrow, and even the central nervous system. So there can be a multi-organ spread in patients who are having a bit poor immune system. The infection by the brucella organism is prevented in the human body by mononuclear phagocytosis and cell-mediated immunity. These are the two methods by which our body tries to fight off this bacteria. But sometimes the bacteria, as it is lodged in the mononuclear leukocytes, so as it becomes an intracellular pathogen, it can escape the toxic effect of the human serum. So some of these patients can develop chronic infections. Now, if we see the clinical features of this disease, they are divided into five types. One is a subclinical illness. Subclinical illness usually occurs in the occupational patients who are exposed to occupational hazards, that is the dairy workers and the slaughterhouse workers. So these patients have, if we do the test, they have high titers of Brucella antibody, and the infection is usually symptomless, and they have a subclinical disease which which can progress into a chronic disease. So all these people who are having occupational hazard should be regularly screened for Brucella infection, and if required, chemoprophylaxis should be given to these patients. Other is the variety is the acute or the subacute illness. So all people who are infected by the Brucella, by any of the variants of the Brucella bacteria, have this kind of illness. So initially the patient will have high fever, which can be sometimes even mild in variety. They will have severe weakness, myalgia, arthralgia, nausea, vomiting. Then sometimes fever can come with chills and rigors, and they can have on examination they can have testicular pain, lymphadenopathy and splenomegaly, and on investigation they can have lymphocytopenia, leukopenia. The majority of these patients get cured with the use of appropriate antibiotics at the right time. The third variety of clinical feature is a localized illness. So sometimes during the bacteremia, these bacteria, that is Brucella, gets lodged into the various organs like liver, spleen, pancreas, bones, then synovial membranes, and all these places, and they form small granulomas which might be even resistant to treatment, or this variety, once they get lodged, the protein features like arthralgia, fever, myalgia may not be there, and on the contrary the features of localized organ pain may be there, which may be missed. So these patients need to be investigated properly so that chemotherapy, that is antibiotic therapy, can be given. Sometimes even cases have been known in which the patients have presented with sacroiliitis, and lot of treatment with orthopedic surgeons like analgesics were given. Ultimately this symptom was due to the Brucella infection. Even vertebral osteomyelitis due to Brucella has also been reported rarely in a few cases. And in a nutshell, Brucella can get lodged in any organ. Sometimes if it lodges in the CNS, then Brucella meningitis is also known. And in these patients, even culture with the CSF have revealed Brucella organisms. So it is very important to give this disease as a differential diagnosis for all these symptoms. Now, fourth type of presentation is the relapsing illness. So once a person gets infection with the Brucella, is diagnosed by the proper laboratory findings and given a proper course of antibiotic, usually they get cured. But some people get relapse, because sometimes the Brucella organism, which is there intracellularly in the lymphocyte or the mononuclear phagocyte, escapes the antibiotic and the serum toxicity. So they again spread to the organs and again lead to bacteremia and leading to secondary infection. One thing which is important, that it is very difficult to distinguish between a new infection which is occurring again and a relapse. So anyway, whenever there are symptoms, we have to investigate and treat them by the proper antibiotics. So usually this relapse can occur due to inappropriate antibiotics which can be given, or the insufficient doses which are given. And fourth variety is the chronic type of disease. So any Brucella infection which is lasting for more than 1 to 2 years is termed into a chronic Brucella infection, and it is very, very difficult for the patient to do his daily core of activities. Sometimes patients also have psychological symptoms like severe depression and psychosis due to the severe debility and anorexia which occurs due to this disease. And usually, if you see these patients and diagnose, you can find granulomas in the liver, spleen, and bone marrow. So, persistent fatigue, anorexia, amnesia, even severe debility is very common in patients with chronic brucellosis. So, this subset of patients have to be identified and treated well. Now, how do you diagnose? The gold standard is culture, blood culture. So initially when you suspect brucella and if you do a blood culture, it is positive in 30 to 90% of the patients and you can isolate the brucella bacteria. But from the second week onwards, once the antibody titer starts rising in the body, most of the times cultures are negative. So culture has to be done in the initial phase of illness. Other test which is there is tube agglutination test, in which if the titers of the antibody are raised for more than 3 to 4 times, then it is suggestive of a recent brucella infection. Even routinely we do a tube titration test, but this ELISA, if this titration, agglutination and antibody titers are done by the ELISA method, it is more specific. So whenever a patient comes with such kind of history, you have to do a CBC to see polymorphonuclear leukocytosis. Then you can find platelets which can be low, so you will have a finding of thrombocytopenia. If liver is involved, you will have a derangement of the liver function test. If your brain is involved, then your on clinical picture patient can be drowsy or there can be convulsions, or on examination you can have neck rigidity. On X-ray, you can sometimes, if the lung is involved, you can find opacities in the lung parenchyma. So these are the various findings in which you can diagnose the brucella infection. Similarly, other supportive investigations like renal function test should be done. Then an ultrasound of abdomen has to be done to rule out any other positive findings which occur, if any. So this was something about the routine tests. Now what is the treatment? The principle of treatment is prolonged treatment and it should be bactericidal in nature. So the drug of choice is doxycycline and it has to be given 100 milligram twice a day for 6 to 8 weeks. Usually what happens is most of the times the patient gets partially cured and we stop the antibiotic after 2 weeks. So such patients again develop relapse. Along with this, aminoglycoside like gentamicin or amikacin has to be given for 7 days. These two drugs have to be combined and given in a proper days, duration and in a proper dose. Other regime is you can give doxycycline 100 milligram twice a day for 6 to 8 weeks along with streptomycin intramuscular 0.75 milligram, 0.75 gram intramuscularly for 2 weeks. Other regimes which are used at certain centers are they are combining rifampicin with doxycycline, but this regime is not very effective. Fluoroquinolones have no much role, so use of fluoroquinolones is not advocated. So this was something about the antibiotic therapy in brucella. Now how do we can avoid? We can avoid this disease by pasteurizing the milk. Then we can give protection of clothing and goggles to the dairy workers and to the slaughterhouse workers. And if required, we can regularly check for their antibody titers, and if found to be infected, then we can treat these people. One very important thing is the role of any chemoprophylaxis. So chemoprophylaxis has not been proven to be effective in any person. So if you give a prophylactic doxycycline, prevention of disease is not sure. So we don't recommend chemoprophylaxis. Prognosis is usually good in brucella infection, but in patients of prosthetic valve surgery, then patients having severe LV dysfunction and bicuspid aortic valve, such subset of patients can develop brucella endocarditis, which has a mortality of more than 70% if not treated properly. So this was something about the brucella infection. It is very common in clinical practice, and we should always think in the differential diagnosis of any patients of pyrexia of unknown origin. Thank you.